By the authority vested in me by the Senate of York University, I hereby confer on you the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, emitota ad gradum.
Congratulations.
Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, important official gentlemen and ladies on the platform, and especially the students. This is the first convocation I've attended where the students are in the back, because I want to address the students, and I cannot turn my head too often to the left because of doctor's orders. This generation, Bob Marley compliments this generation and reminds us that in spite of our cultural and social background, or perhaps because of it, we have achieved some success, as he sings in Redemption Song. In spite of the robbery committed by old pirates in merchant ships and the bottomless pit of this generation's history, he traces our journey from one hell to our present disquietude. We forward in this generation triumphantly. This is poetry, but it could be the science of politics and ethics. I shall define this generation as the omnicultural arrangement arrived at by ourselves and by the entire community in which we live. His words illustrate our grappling for the instituting of a multicultural community in Toronto. But I prefer to call it, for the purposes of this address, omniculturalism, or the moral acknowledgement by everyone, white and black, in Toronto, in Canada, that the social and economic problems that define the Jane Finch and Monarch Park in Scarborough, Regent Park, St. Jamestown and Thorncliffe Park are not a sovereign black problem, but are a Toronto problem. All of you should let your faces be shown to the television camera and to the newspaper photographer, not condemning the black ghettos, but shedding tears that your black neighbors have once again been caught outside the net of omniculturalism. They have killed another brother, another sister. Why do white neighbors mourn only white victims? Why should black neighbors mourn only black victims? Why are white Torontonians not vouchsafing the character and reputation of their black neighbors? Why do they leave it to the Toronto Star and other media to define the character and the motivation of black violence in black neighborhoods? There was a manifestation of true neighborliness in the early 1960s during the civil rights movement. We black people were fighting for the right, the privilege of eating a hamburger or a hot dog sitting beside white Americans, and the right to vote, the right to enter a university, And in this country, it was expressed as a desire, a right, to have a haircut by a white barber. This movement for integration was taken up also by the white Toronto communities because they thought they would witness Baldwin's fire next time, not coming the next time, but that it was coming this time. The next opportunity for the practices of omniculturalism is now, this year, this summer. And talk about the long, hot summer. Most of you are too young to know that summertime, beginning in June, used to be called, in my cultural and racial group, killing time by police revolvers mainly. That was then not only in Toronto, in Ottawa, in Windsor, in Hamilton. And you would have thought we were living then and you would have thought that were you living then, that the hand of racism would have landed less heavily. And you of this generation would have been aware that the reputation of a country moves out from its capital, the center, like the waves that move outwards from the target of a rock stone thrown into a lake or a pool. We have moved past that brutality of the killing times, but that American lack of conscience is still with us. The election of a black man in America who does not call himself a black man has done nothing to obviate that part of the psyche of our cousins to the south. South is a very ironical geographical direction to take if we want to seek Canadian solutions to racial discrimination and to black violence in black ghettos. We should be turning to the Underground Railroad, a Canadian sensibility for our best direction. We have, either in our lack of sophistication or in our suspicions about our own history, understood the metaphor of the Underground Railroad. I am talking with you, and I stress the preposition, not because I am a role model. I am no father figure, no icon. Attributes which I have noticed with great interest were the very attributes not mentioned sufficiently in the praise my introducer showered me with. But I have my own Underground Railroad, and I shall, with characteristic sincerity, offer to all people a first-class ticket on my train bound for glory and for omniculturalism, greater understanding and harmony between white people and black people in Toronto. Overwhelmed by the problems we face in Toronto, we do not have the disposition to offer any blessing to the rest of the country. But I am sure, by Toronto's example, that regions in this vast country will adopt in due time ideas of omniculturalism. And what will be good for the goose shall be better for the moose.